The snow fell like powdered sugar over Manhattan that Christmas Eve, dusting the sidewalks where millionaires and homeless shared the same frozen air. Marcus Chen sat in his Bentley, engine purring, watching his 7-year-old daughter Lily press her nose against the window. She hadn't spoken more than 10 words all day. Hell, she'd barely spoken 10 words all week. "Daddy, stop the car." Those 3 words hit him like electricity. Lily hadn't initiated anything, hadn't asked for anything, hadn't wanted anything since her mother died 2 years ago. Marcus immediately pulled over, his heart racing. "What is it, sweetheart?" But Lily was already unbuckling her seatbelt, her eyes fixed on something across the street. Through the swirling snow, Marcus saw her, a young woman sitting on a piece of cardboard outside the closed Greenwich Village Market. But she wasn't begging. She wasn't holding a sign. She was drawing. With broken pieces of sidewalk chalk, she was creating the most incredible thing Marcus had ever seen on concrete. A full Christmas dinner, so detailed, so vibrant that it seemed to steam in the winter cold. The turkey looked golden and crispy. The mashed potatoes appeared fluffy enough to eat. The pie seemed to glisten with real cinnamon and nutmeg. "She's making Christmas," Lily whispered, "with colors." The woman's hands moved with precision despite the cold. She wore fingerless gloves, and her coat was held together with safety pins. Her dark hair fell in waves around her face, and when she looked up at a passing couple who dropped $1 in her hat, Marcus saw her eyes, fierce, proud, unbroken. "Can we give her money?" Lily asked. Marcus reached for his wallet, but Lily shook her head. "No. Can we give her Christmas?" Before Marcus could process what his daughter meant, Lily was out of the car. Marcus scrambled after her, his $1,000 shoes slipping on the icy sidewalk. By the time he caught up, Lily was standing in front of the woman, studying the chalk art with the intensity of a museum curator. "Did you go to art school?" Lily asked. The woman looked up, surprised. A sad smile crossed her face. "Something like that. I went to culinary school, but food and art..." She held up the chalk. "They're not that different. Both feed something in people." "My mommy used to say that about her cooking," Lily said softly. "She said food was love you could taste." The woman's expression softened. She pulled out a fresh piece of chalk, bright purple, and offered it to Lily. "Want to help me with the dessert?" Marcus watched, stunned, as his daughter knelt down on the freezing sidewalk in her designer coat and began drawing alongside this stranger. Lily was laughing, actually laughing, as she added sprinkles to what looked like a chocolate cake. "I'm Elena," the woman said, looking up at Marcus. "Elena Russo." "Marcus Chen," he replied automatically, then added, "That's Lily." "She's got an artist's eye," Elena said, watching Lily work. "See how she's adding shadows? That's advanced technique. She hasn't drawn anything since..." Marcus stopped himself. Elena understood anyway. She'd seen that look before, in her own mirror. A harsh wind whipped through the street, scattering Elena's chalks. As she scrambled to collect them, a piece of paper fell from her pocket. Marcus picked it up. It was a sketch on a napkin, an intricate design for what looked like a deconstructed tiramisu, with notes in the margins about flavor profiles and plating angles. "You're really a chef," he said, not a question. Elena's jaw tightened. Was, past tense. She reached for the napkin, but Lily had already seen it. "Daddy, look, she draws food everywhere. Can she draw food at our house? We have a big table and it's warm and we have all the colors." Elena stood quickly, shoving the napkin back in her pocket. "That's very sweet, but..." "Please?" Lily grabbed Elena's hand. "It's Christmas Eve. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve. That's what Mommy always said." Marcus saw the moment Elena's walls cracked, just a fraction. She looked down at this little girl with her serious eyes and her mother's wisdom, then up at Marcus. "Just for tonight," Marcus heard himself saying. "It's Christmas Eve. Let us give you dinner at least. Lily's right. Nobody should be alone." Elena hesitated. Pride warred with cold, with hunger, with the strange pull of this little girl, who drew shadows without being taught. "I don't need charity," Elena said quietly. "It's not charity," Lily said firmly. "It's Christmas." And somehow, in that moment, with snow falling and chalk art melting at their feet, that seemed to make all the difference. Windowworst. The Bentley's heated seats should have made Elena uncomfortable, The leather alone probably cost more than she'd made in her last 3 months before everything fell apart. But Lily had curled up against her side, chattering about art supplies and recipes and whether chalk flavors would taste like their colors. And somehow, the luxury car felt less like a cage and more like a warm cocoon protecting them from the bitter December wind. "Our penthouse has a kitchen bigger than most restaurants," Lily announced. "Daddy never uses it, though. He orders takeout every night, even breakfast." Marcus glanced in the rearview mirror. "Lily, I'm sure Miss Russo doesn't want to hear about our eating habits." "It's Elena," she corrected softly. "And I think your daughter's trying to tell you something about nutrition." "See, Daddy? She knows." They pulled into an underground garage that looked like it belonged in a spy movie, all gleaming concrete and subtle lighting. The elevator that whisked them up 40 floors was silent except for classical music that Elena recognized as Vivaldi's Winter. Of course. When the doors opened directly into the penthouse, Elena had to suppress a gasp. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed Manhattan sprawled below like a jewelry box tipped over. The living room alone was bigger than the restaurant she'd once owned. But what caught her attention was the kitchen, a chef's dream of Viking ranges, sub-zero refrigerators, and marble countertops that stretched forever. "It's like a museum," Elena murmured. "That's what I keep telling Daddy," Lily said, tugging off her coat. "Kitchens are supposed to smell like food, not cleaning stuff." Marcus helped Elena with her threadbare coat, trying not to notice how she clutched it, as if afraid he might throw it away. "Can I get you something to drink? Water? Wine? Coffee?" "Water's fine." Elena drifted toward the kitchen, her trained eye cataloging everything. "You have a LaCanche range. That's a $20,000 stove, and you order takeout?" "My wife picked it out," Marcus said quietly. "She loved to cook. I couldn't bring myself to use it." Elena's hand hovered over the range's brass handles. "I'm sorry. It was 2 years ago. Cancer." He said it like ripping off a bandage. "Lily's been seeing a therapist, but she hasn't been interested in much since then. Tonight was the first time she's asked for anything in months." Elena looked over at Lily, who had sprawled on the floor with a tablet, drawing with her finger on the screen. "She asked to help a stranger make chalk art in the snow." "She saw something in you," Marcus said. "I don't know what, but she responded to you like—" He struggled for words, like she remembered how to be curious again. Elena walked to the refrigerator, opened it. As Lily had said, it was full of takeout containers, condiments, and not much else. But there were basics. Eggs, butter, cream, some vegetables that looked on the verge of giving up. "Do you have pasta?" she asked. "Pantry's over there." Elena found dried linguine, good olive oil, and most surprisingly, a small jar of truffle paste tucked behind boxes of cereal. She held it up, questioning. "Sarah loved that stuff," Marcus said. "I couldn't throw it away." "May I?" Marcus nodded, and Elena began to move. It was like watching a dancer who'd been off stage for too long suddenly hear her music again. She put water on to boil, began julienning vegetables with a knife that probably hadn't been used in 2 years, but was still sharp enough to sing. Lily abandoned her tablet to watch. "What are you making?" "Comfort," Elena said. "Linguine with truffle cream and winter vegetables. Simple, but if you do it right, it tastes like a hug feels." "Mommy used to say that about her chicken soup." Elena smiled. "Your mom was right. Food is love. It's chemistry and art and magic all at once. See this?" She held up a strip of carrot. "Boring alone, but watch." She heated olive oil in a pan, added the carrot with precise timing. The smell that rose made Lily close her eyes and inhale deeply. "It smells like sunshine," the little girl said. "That's the sugar in the carrot caramelizing. Same thing that happens when you toast marshmallows." As Elena cooked, she explained everything. Why she salted the pasta water, like the sea. How to know when garlic was perfectly golden. It sings differently. Why you should never add cheese to a truffle dish. They're both divas, they'll fight for attention. Marcus found himself mesmerized. This woman who'd been drawing on sidewalks for dollars an hour ago was now conducting a symphony in his kitchen. Her movements were economical, precise, almost surgical, but there was joy in them too. A barely suppressed delight as flavors came together under her hands. "You're not just a chef," he said. "You're something more." Elena's hands stilled for a moment. I trained under Auguste de Beaumont in Lyon, worked at Le Bernardin, got my first Michelin star at 25. She resumed stirring. Ancient history now. What happened? Life, she said simply. Sometimes it takes everything. She plated the pasta with the same attention she'd given her chalk art, turning each dish into something that belonged in a magazine. She set them on the dining table that Marcus admitted hadn't been used in months. The first bite rendered them all silent. Lily's eyes went wide. Marcus felt something in his chest crack open. It wasn't just good. It was transcendent. The truffle sang without overwhelming. The vegetables added texture and sweetness. The pasta was perfectly al dente. "This is what happiness tastes like," Lily announced. Elena's eyes filled with tears. She quickly blinked away. "That's the nicest review I've ever gotten." They ate slowly, Lily asking questions about everything. How Elena learned to cook, what her favorite dish was, whether you could make paint from food. Elena answered them all with patience and humor. Marcus hadn't seen anyone show his daughter since Sarah died. "I had a restaurant once," Elena said when Lily asked about her favorite kitchen. "It was small, only 30 seats, but it was mine. I painted the walls yellow and hung plants in the windows. Every dish told a story." "What was it called?" "Storia. It means story in Italian." "What happened to it?" Lily asked, with the directness only children possess. Elena's smile turned sad. "Someone I trusted took it away, but that's a story for another day." After dinner, Lily insisted on showing Elena her room, dragging her by the hand to see her collection of art books, her half-finished paintings, the photos of her mother she kept on her nightstand. Marcus cleaned up, listening to their voices down the hall. Lily was laughing again, really laughing. When was the last time he'd heard that sound? When they returned, Lily was yawning. "Can Elena stay? We have guest rooms, 5 of them. She could pick anyone." "Lily, I'm sure Elena has somewhere." "I don't," Elena said quietly. "The shelter's probably full by now, but I can't impose. You've already been too kind." "It's not kindness," Marcus said, surprising himself. I haven't seen Lily this engaged in 2 years. Stay, at least for tonight. Tomorrow's Christmas. No one should wake up alone on Christmas." Elena looked between them, this broken father trying to hold his daughter together, this little girl desperate for something she couldn't name. "Just tonight," she agreed. Later, after Lily was tucked in bed, Elena stood at those floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city lights. Marcus joined her, handing her a cup of tea. "She asked me to make breakfast tomorrow," Elena said. "Warned me you'd try to order bagels." "Guilty as charged." They stood in comfortable silence. Finally, Elena spoke. "Your daughter's special. The way she sees the world. She's got an artist's soul." "Like her mother," Marcus said. "Sarah was a graphic designer. She saw beauty everywhere. She passed that on." Marcus studied Elena's profile against the city lights. "Can I ask you something? That napkin sketch, it was dated 3 days ago. If you can create dishes like that, why were you drawing on sidewalks?" Elena's reflection in the window looked back at him. "Because sometimes the world tells you your gifts don't matter, that you don't matter, and after a while, you start to believe it. But you kept sketching, you kept creating." "Old habit," she said. "Even when everything else is gone, you still have to feed your soul somehow." Marcus thought about the past 2 years, about how he'd shut down everything that reminded him of Sarah, including the joy of watching food being made with love. "Maybe that's why Lily recognized you," he said. "One artist seeing another who needed to remember why they create." Elena smiled, the first full, genuine smile he'd seen from her. "Your daughter might have saved me tonight. I was ready to give up. Then she asked me to draw dessert." "Funny," Marcus said. "I think you might have saved us too. This is the first night in 2 years this place has felt like home." As if in response, Lily's voice called out sleepily from her room. "Elena, are you still here?" "I'm here, sweetie," Elena called back. "Good. Tomorrow can you teach me to draw food that looks real?" "I'll teach you to cook food that tastes like art," Elena promised. Marcus watched her face soften with affection for his daughter. This stranger who'd walked into their lives with chalk dust on her fingers and sadness in her eyes had somehow, in just a few hours, brought light back into their home. "Thank you," he said simply. "For what?" for saying yes to a little girl who wanted to give someone Christmas. Elena turned from the window to look at him directly. Thank you for having a daughter brave enough to ask. Tomorrow would bring questions. Who was Elena Russo really? What had happened to her restaurant? Why was someone with Michelin star talent living on the streets? But tonight, with snow falling and his daughter sleeping peacefully for the first time in months, Marcus was content to let the mystery be. Elena moved toward the guest room, then paused. Marcus, that truffle paste in your pantry. Your wife had excellent taste. She would have loved to see someone use it properly. Then tomorrow, I'll make her proud. As she disappeared down the hall, Marcus realized he was smiling, really smiling. Not the practice smile he wore for business meetings or school functions, but the kind that started somewhere deep in your chest and worked its way out. From her bedroom, Lily called out one more time. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart. I like her. Can we keep her? Marcus laughed softly. People aren't pets, Lily. I know, but sometimes they're family, eventually. As he turned off the lights and headed to bed, Marcus thought about his 7-year-old daughter's wisdom. Sometimes family wasn't about blood or time. Sometimes it was about recognizing something in someone else that your heart had been searching for without knowing it. In the guest room, Elena sat on the bed, the first real bed she'd been in for 3 months, and pulled out her worn napkin sketches. Tomorrow she would cook for this strange, sad, beautiful family. She would make breakfast that would make a little girl laugh, and a father remember that kitchens were meant for more than takeout containers. For the first time in months, Elena Russo fell asleep without wondering if tomorrow would be worth waking up for. She already knew it would be. The morning after Christmas arrived with the kind of brilliant winter sunshine that made Manhattan's glass towers look like they were carved from crystal. Elena woke to find Lily sitting cross-legged at the foot of her bed, sketchpad in hand, drawing Elena's sleeping face with the focused intensity of a Renaissance apprentice. You're beautiful when you're peaceful, Lily announced matter-of-factly. Daddy says I shouldn't watch people sleep because it's creepy, but artists need to study faces. Elena stretched, momentarily forgetting where she was until the luxury of the sheets reminded her. How long have you been there? Since sunrise, about an hour. I was waiting for you to wake up so we could make breakfast. Daddy's already in his office on a conference call with Tokyo. On the day after Christmas? Daddy works every day. He says it keeps his mind busy. Elena understood the coping mechanism all too well. Well then, let's give him something worth taking a break for. In the kitchen, Elena taught Lily to make crepes, showing her how to swirl the batter in the pan, how to tell when the edges were perfectly golden. Lily stood on a step stool, tongue poking out in concentration, flipping crepes with surprising skill. You're a natural, Elena said, and meant it. Mom used to say cooking was in our blood. Her grandmother had a restaurant in Taiwan. They were assembling a crepe cake with layers of vanilla cream when Marcus emerged from his office, phone still pressed to his ear. He stopped mid-sentence, watching Elena guide Lily's hands as she piped delicate rosettes. I'll call you back, he said into the phone, then hung up without waiting for a response. Daddy, look, I'm making art you can eat. The breakfast that followed was like something from another life, one where families gathered around tables and food was an event, not just fuel. Marcus couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten something that wasn't consumed standing over his desk. I have a proposition, he said, as Elena started to clear the dishes. A business arrangement. Elena's hands stilled. I don't need charity, Mr. Chen. It's Marcus. And this isn't charity. Lily's winter break lasts another 2 weeks. Her nanny quit last month, said Lily was too withdrawn, wouldn't engage. But look at her with you. Lily was humming, sketching the crepe cake in her notebook, adding notes about flavors the way Elena had shown her. I'll pay you to stay. Cook, teach Lily about food and art. 2 weeks. The guest room is yours, plus a salary. He named a figure that made Elena's eyes widen. That's too much. That's what a Michelin-starred chef is worth. Elena's expression darkened. Was worth. Past tense. Nobody in New York will hire me now. Why? She was quiet for so long, Marcus thought she wouldn't answer. Finally, she said, have you ever trusted someone so completely that when they betrayed you, you couldn't even believe it was happening until it was too late? Yes, Marcus said simply, thinking of his brother who'd tried to steal his company while Sarah was dying. Then you understand how someone can lose everything in a single moment of misplaced faith. Before Marcus could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at it, frowning. My mother, I should take it, Elena said. Lily and I will start on lunch. But Marcus had barely said hello before his mother's voice filled the kitchen, loud enough for everyone to hear, despite not being on speaker. Marcus Chen, how dare you not tell me you have a woman living in your apartment? He moved toward his office, but his mother's next words stopped everyone cold. Mrs. Patterson from 4B saw you bringing some homeless woman home on Christmas Eve. The entire building is talking about it. Marcus's jaw tightened. Mother, this is exactly the kind of scandal your competitors will use against you. The board is already concerned about your judgment since Sarah died. Now, you're picking up strays? Elena's face had gone pale. She set down the pan she was holding with careful precision. She's not a stray, Mother. She's a chef. I hired her to cook for Lily during winter break. A chef you found on the street? Have you lost your mind? What do you even know about this woman? She could be an addict, a thief, mentally unstable. Stop. Marcus's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. You're talking about someone who has shown my daughter more kindness in 24 hours than you have in 2 years. I'm trying to protect you, and Lily. You can't just trust random people. Like you trusted that investment advisor who stole your retirement fund? Marcus shot back. Or the contractor who ran off with your renovation deposit? At least I'm trusting someone who's actually helping my family. There was a long silence. Then his mother's voice, colder now. Don't come crying to me when this blows up in your face. And don't bring her to New Year's dinner. I won't have my granddaughter exposed to some opportunistic. Marcus hung up. The kitchen was silent. Lily had stopped drawing, her eyes wide and worried. Elena stood frozen by the stove. I should go, Elena said quietly. No! Lily's voice was sharp with panic. You can't leave because grandmother's mean. She's mean about everything. She said Mommy wasn't good enough either because she was just a designer and not a lawyer. Lily, Marcus started. It's true. She's horrible and you know it. Tears were streaming down Lily's face. Everyone leaves. Mommy left and didn't want to, and now Elena wants to leave because of us. Elena moved without thinking, pulling Lily into her arms. Hey, I'm not leaving because of you. You're the best thing that's happened to me in a really long time. Then why? Elena looked over Lily's head at Marcus. Because sometimes the world has rules about who belongs where, and people like me. We don't belong in penthouses. That's stupid, Lily said fiercely. You belong wherever you make beautiful things. You belong with people who see you. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from his business partner, David. Heard you hired some homeless woman. Please tell me Mom's wrong. The Nakamura deal is too important to risk on bad PR. Then another from his lawyer. Marcus, if you're taking in strangers, we need to discuss liability. Call me. And another from a board member. Concerning rumors about your judgment. We should talk. Marcus turned his phone face down. Elena, I need to tell you something about my mother. When Sarah was diagnosed, Mom's first concern was how it would affect my company's image. When Sarah died, she suggested I wait 3 months before dating again, because anything less looks desperate. She measures everything by appearances and nothing by value. She's not entirely wrong, though, Elena said. Appearances matter in your world. My world? Marcus laughed bitterly. You think I care about that world? The one that sends condolence cards with business proposals? That asks about quarterly projections at my wife's funeral? That world can burn for all I care. You don't mean that. You built something amazing. I built a food distribution empire that makes sure organic, healthy food reaches working families at affordable prices. I built it because Sarah believed everyone deserved to eat well, not just the rich. And you know what my board wants? To go public, triple prices, and focus on luxury markets. So no, Elena, I don't give a damn what that world thinks about me hiring a homeless chef who makes my daughter smile. Elena was quiet for a moment. Then, what if they're right about me? What if I am unstable? You don't know why I was really on the streets. So tell me. She sat down heavily, Lily still clinging to her side. I had a restaurant, Storia. It was everything to me. My ex-boyfriend Vincent was my business partner. We were supposed to get married, build an empire together. Classic story, right? Marcus sat across from them, waiting. His mother is Christine Laurent. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. Christine Laurent was culinary royalty, owner of a restaurant group that dominated fine dining in New York. She never approved of me, said I was too young, too inexperienced, too everything. But Vincent said he loved me, said we'd prove her wrong together. Elena's voice turned bitter. Turns out he was proving something else entirely. What did he do? He put the restaurant in his name, said it was easier for financing, that his credit was better. I was 26 and in love, and stupid enough to believe him. Every recipe was mine, every concept, every innovation that got us noticed. But on paper, it was all his. He stole your restaurant? Better, he sold it to his mother's company for 3 times what we paid. Then he told everyone I was a junior cook who'd gotten too ambitious, tried to claim credit for his work. Christine backed him up. Who was going to believe me against the Laurent empire? You could have fought? With what money? What lawyers? I went from having everything to having nothing in 48 hours. Vincent had already transferred the restaurant's accounts. I couldn't even prove I'd created the recipes because I'd been stupid enough to develop them on the restaurant's computers, which he claimed were his property. Lily looked up at her with fierce eyes. He's a bad person. Yes, Elena agreed simply. He is. But that was what, a year ago? Marcus asked. How did you end up on the streets? You don't understand how small the culinary world is. Christine made sure everyone knew I was difficult, delusional, unstable. I couldn't get hired anywhere. Not even as a line cook. I burned through my savings in 3 months trying to fight it legally. Lost my apartment. Friends in the industry couldn't risk associating with me. My family, they're in Idaho. They think the city corrupted me, won't return my calls. So you gave up? Elena's eyes flashed. I survived. There's a difference. I did catering gigs under a fake name until someone recognized me. Worked food trucks until word got out. Taught cooking classes until Christine found out and threatened the studio. Every time I tried to climb back up, she made sure I fell harder. That's illegal. That's power, Elena corrected. And she has it all. Marcus was quiet, processing. Then, show me. What? Cook something. Something that was on Storia's menu. Show me what Vincent stole. Elena stood slowly. You have duck in your freezer. I saw it yesterday. For the next hour, Elena worked with the intensity of someone proving their right to exist. She broke down the duck with surgical precision, rendered the fat, created a sauce that smelled like autumn and tasted like silk. She plated it with the kind of artistry that belonged in museums, not kitchens. When she set it in front of Marcus, she said, "This was our signature dish. Vincent couldn't make the sauce properly if his life depended on it, but it has his name on it now at Laurent's flagship restaurant." Marcus took a bite. The flavors were so complex, so perfectly balanced, that he actually gasped. This wasn't just cooking. This was the kind of culinary genius that came along once in a generation. Elena, he said slowly, this is extraordinary. It doesn't matter. Christine made sure of that. It matters, Lily said firmly. Beauty matters even if mean people try to steal it. Marcus's phone rang again. This time, it was James Morrison, CEO of Morrison Hospitality Group, and one of Marcus's biggest clients. Marcus, my boy, heard through the grapevine you've got Elena Russo cooking in your kitchen. Marcus's stomach dropped. James, is it true? Is she really there? How did you... Christine Laurent's been bragging all over town that she destroyed the only chef who ever threatened her empire. But my son ate at Storia before it closed, said it was the best meal of his life. If Elena Russo is cooking again, she's not... I'll pay whatever it takes. I need her for the Whitmore Hotel opening. 2 weeks from now. It's a soft launch, invitation only, 100 of New York's most influential people. If she can prove Christine wrong... James, it's complicated. Everything's complicated until it's not. Think about it. And Marcus, don't let Christine win this one. That woman's destroyed too many talented people because they threatened her monopoly. After he hung up, Marcus found Elena and Lily in the living room, drawing together. Elena was showing Lily how to sketch the duck dish, breaking down the plating into geometric shapes. That was James Morrison, Marcus said. He wants you to cook for the Whitmore Hotel opening. Elena's face went white. That's impossible. Christine will destroy it. She'll make sure. What if she couldn't? What if you had backing powerful enough that even Christine Laurent couldn't touch you? Nobody's that powerful in the food world. Marcus smiled for the first time that day. I'm not talking about the food world. I'm talking about the business world. The one where I have enough influence to make Christine Laurent look like a small-time bully. Why would you do that? Marcus looked at his daughter, who was watching them with hope in her eyes. Because Lily's right. Beauty matters, talent matters, and someone needs to prove that stealing those things has consequences. Elena stood, shaking her head. You don't understand. This isn't just about cooking. Vincent, he knows things about me. Embarrassing things. Things that everyone has a past, Elena. Not like mine. Try me. She looked at Lily, then back at Marcus. Not in front of Lily, sweetheart. Can you go to your room for a few minutes? But Daddy, please. After Lily reluctantly left, Elena said quietly, I tried to kill myself. After I lost everything. Vincent knows because he's the one who found me. Called 911, played the hero. But he also took photos. Said if I ever tried to come after him legally, he'd release them. Say I was mentally unstable, that I'd been stalking him, that he'd had to have me committed for my own safety. Marcus felt rage build in his chest. That's leverage. It's what he called it. Insurance. And it worked. I've been too scared to fight back because who's going to believe the suicidal ex-girlfriend over the successful restaurateur and his mother? I believe you. You just met me. And in 24 hours, you've shown more integrity than most people show in a lifetime. You were at rock bottom, and you still chose to create beauty on sidewalks. You could have taken advantage of Lily's affection, of my wealth, but instead, you tried to leave to protect us from controversy. Elena's eyes filled with tears. I'm so tired of being afraid. Then stop. Cook for the Whitmore opening. Show New York what Christine and Vincent stole, and if they try to stop you, they'll have to go through me. You don't even know if I can do it anymore. It's been a year since I've cooked professionally. Marcus gestured to the kitchen. You just recreated a Michelin-starred dish from memory with ingredients you found in my freezer. I think you can handle it. But Vincent is a coward who preys on people he thinks can't fight back, but you're not alone anymore. From the hallway, Lily's voice piped up, And you have me. I'll be your sous chef. Marcus sighed. Lily, were you eavesdropping? Artists need to understand human drama, she said, coming back into the room. And Elena needs to know we're her family now. Lily, we just met. So, sometimes you just know. Like how I knew Mommy was sick before she told us. Like how I knew Elena needed us when I saw her drawing. Sometimes your heart knows things before your head figures them out. Elena looked between them, this broken father and his too wise daughter, offering her not just shelter, but something she'd thought she'd lost forever, people willing to fight for her. The Whitmore opening, she said slowly. If I fail, you won't, Marcus said. But if I do, then we'll fail together, Lily announced. That's what families do. Elena laughed through her tears. How did you get so smart? My mom taught me, and now you're teaching me too. Marcus's phone buzzed with another text from his mother. I've arranged for Dr. Phillips to evaluate your judgment. This obsession with a homeless woman is concerning. He deleted it without responding. Looking at Elena, he said, 2 weeks to prepare for Whitmore. We'll need to plan, practice, strategize, and we'll need to keep it quiet until the reveal. Christine will find out. Let her. By the time she does, it'll be too late to stop it. You really think we can pull this off? I think, Marcus said carefully, that Christine Laurent is about to learn what happens when she tries to destroy genuine talent. And I think Vincent is about to discover that some things can't be stolen, only borrowed. Real genius always finds its way back to the source. Elena stood straighter, and for the first time since she'd walked into their lives, Marcus saw who she really was. Not a broken chef or a homeless woman, but an artist who'd been silenced and was ready to roar back to life. All right, she said. Let's do it. Lily cheered, throwing her arms around Elena. And in that moment, in a penthouse kitchen with sunset turning the city gold, a plan was born. Not just to restore Elena's reputation, but to expose the truth about what had been stolen from her. The Whitmore Hotel opening would be more than a culinary event. It would be a resurrection. Et oui, si, Zibor. The Whitmore Hotel stood like a glass and steel promise against the Manhattan skyline, its soft opening scheduled for New Year's Eve, the most prestigious night in New York's social calendar. Elena stood in its pristine kitchen, running her hands over equipment that cost more than most people's cars, trying to calm the tremors in her fingers. "You've got this," Marcus said from the doorway. He'd been there every day of preparation, using his influence to ensure she had everything she needed. "There are going to be 300 people out there," Elena said. "Food critics, celebrities, socialites, and Christine Laurent has a table, front and center. I know. She requested it specifically when she heard I was cooking. This is a trap, or an opportunity." Elena laughed bitterly. "You don't know her like I do. She's probably already planted reviews about how I'm having a mental breakdown, how you hired me out of pity." Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his face darkened. "Speaking of which," he showed her the screen. A gossip blog headline screamed, "Disgraced chef's desperate comeback. Elena Russo seduces millionaire widower for second chance." The article was accompanied by a photo that made Elena's blood run cold. It was from that night, the night she'd tried to end everything. She was on a hospital gurney, unconscious, wrists bandaged. Vincent must have given it to them. "Oh God," Elena whispered. "I can't do this. They're going to destroy me." "No," Lily's voice came from behind them. "They're going to try." The 7-year-old walked in carrying her tablet, her face set with determination. "I've been researching Christine Laurent. Did you know she's been sued 12 times for stealing recipes? She always settles out of court." "Lily, how did you—" "Public records, Daddy. Also, Vincent has a pattern. Elena wasn't his first girlfriend he did this to. There was Sophie Marchand, Amino Patel, Rebecca Chen, all young female chefs. All had their restaurants mysteriously end up in his possession." Elena stared at the little girl. "How do you know all this?" "Because while you two were planning menus, I was investigating. That's what Mom would have done. She always said, if someone hurts your family, you document everything." Marcus knelt beside his daughter. "Lily, this is dangerous. No, staying quiet is dangerous. Letting bullies win is dangerous." She pulled up another screen. "I found something else. Vincent's not even a real chef. He hired someone to take his culinary school exams. I found the guy, Thomas Mitchell. He's willing to testify if we protect him from Christine." Elena sank into a chair. "This is too much. Even with proof, she has the power." "She has fear," Marcus corrected. "People are afraid of her. But fear only works if you're alone, and you're not." The kitchen doors burst open. James Morrison strode in, followed by 4 other people Elena recognized, all major players in New York's hospitality industry. "Elena Russo," James said warmly. "The woman who made my son cry with joy over a simple pasta dish. We need to talk." "Mr. Morrison, James, and these are my colleagues. We've all eaten at Storia. We all know what was stolen from you, and we're all tired of Christine Laurent's monopoly on fine dining." A woman stepped forward, Diana Chen, no relation to Marcus, but owner of 7 boutique hotels. "Christine destroyed my best friend's career 10 years ago. Same pattern as you. Young, talented, threatening. I've been waiting for someone brave enough to stand up to her." "I'm not brave," Elena said. "I'm terrified." "Good," Diana said. "That means you understand the stakes. But here's what Christine doesn't know. We've formed a coalition. 37 restaurant owners, hotel managers, and food critics who are ready to support you. Tonight isn't just your comeback. It's a revolution." Elena looked around the room at these powerful people offering their support. "Why now? Why me?" "Because," James said, "you survived. You were at rock bottom and you survived. That makes you dangerous to people like Christine. You have nothing left to lose." "I have everything to lose," Elena said, looking at Marcus and Lily. "I have a family now." "Then fight for them," Diana said. "Show Lily that talent matters more than tyranny." The hours before service flew by in a blur of preparation. Elena's hands moved with muscle memory, creating sauces, preparing proteins, building flavors and layers of complexity that would unfold on the tongue like symphonies. Lily stationed herself at a prep table, helping where she could, drawing pictures of each dish for what she called the evidence file. At 7 o'clock, the doors opened. New York's elite poured in, champagne flowed, and the kitchen erupted into controlled chaos. The first courses went out. Elena's deconstructed French onion soup that looked like abstract art but tasted like comfort. The dining room fell silent, then erupted in amazed murmurs. "Send out the second course," Elena called, her voice steady now, in her element. The fish course, black cod with miso glaze that Elena had perfected at Storia, caused 3 food critics to immediately pull out their phones, typing furiously. Then, between the third and fourth courses, Christine Laurent walked into the kitchen. She was everything Elena remembered. Silver hair pulled into a severe chignon, designer dress that cost more than most annual salaries, eyes like chips of ice. "Elena," she said, voice carrying over the kitchen noise. "How resilient of you." Every cook stopped working, sensing the tension. "Christine," Elena replied, not stopping her plating. "How predictable of you. I'm simply here to congratulate you on your temporary position. Though I should warn you, the Board of Health received an anonymous tip about mental instability in this kitchen. They'll be arriving shortly." "Good," Marcus said, stepping out from the office where he'd been watching. "They'll be just in time to meet the FBI agents investigating your tax fraud." Christine's composed face cracked slightly. "Excuse me? Did you think you could destroy people's lives without consequence? Every chef you've ruined, every restaurant you've stolen through Vincent, it's all been documented. The FBI is very interested in how you've been hiding assets through these acquisitions. You can't prove—" "Actually," Lily piped up, holding her tablet, "we can. You really should use better passwords than your dog's name." Christine's face went white. "You hacked." "I investigated," Lily corrected. "There's a difference. Also, Vincent's here. He's at table 12. Should we tell him about the other women he's dating? Because there are 3, and they all think they're engaged to him." Vincent chose that moment to storm into the kitchen, his handsome face twisted with rage. "Elena, what the hell are you playing at?" "Cooking," she said simply. "Something you never could do without stealing from others." "That's rich, coming from someone who tried to kill herself because she couldn't handle losing." "Because you destroyed my life," Elena said, her voice carrying now. "Because you and your mother systematically dismantled everything I'd built. But you made one mistake, Vincent." "What's that?" "You left me alive." She turned to the kitchen staff, all watching with rapt attention. "Everyone here needs to know the truth. Every recipe Vincent Laurent has claimed as his own was created by the women he's destroyed. Sophie Marchand's molecular gastronomy, Amino Patel's fusion techniques, Rebecca Chen's pastry innovations, and my flavor profiles that put Storia on the map." "You can't prove any of that," Vincent snarled. "Actually," a new voice said from the doorway, "she can." Everyone turned. A young man walked in, Thomas Mitchell, the one who'd taken Vincent's culinary exams. "I kept records," Thomas said. "Every test, every assignment, every technique Vincent paid me to do for him. 4 years of fraud, all documented." Vincent lunged at Thomas, but Marcus stepped between them. "I wouldn't," he said quietly. "The FBI agents in the dining room might take that badly." Christine grabbed Vincent's arm. "We're leaving." "No," Elena said. "You're not. Not until you taste this." She placed a plate in front of them, her signature duck, the one Vincent had stolen, but elevated beyond what it had ever been. "This is mine now," she said. "Every technique you stole, I've improved. Every recipe you claimed, I've surpassed. You can't steal talent, Christine. You can only delay its recognition." Christine picked up a fork, took a bite. Her face revealed nothing, but Elena saw her hand tremble slightly. "It's adequate," Christine said coldly. "It's perfect," James Morrison said, entering with the other coalition members. "And we all know it. Which is why Elena Russo will be the executive chef for all Morrison properties going forward, Diana's hotels too, and Richardson's restaurant group." Christine's composure finally cracked completely. "You can't do this. I'll ruin all of you." "No," Diana said. "You're done. The investigation into your financial crimes will take years. Your reputation is about to be destroyed by dozens of chefs coming forward with their stories. And Vincent here is about to be arrested for fraud." As if on cue, 2 FBI agents entered the kitchen. "Vincent Laurent, you need to come with us." As Vincent was led away in handcuffs, he turned back to Elena. "This isn't over." "Yes," she said quietly. It is. Christine followed her son out, her empire crumbling with each step. The kitchen erupted in applause. Elena stood in the center of it all, tears streaming down her face. Marcus pulled her into his arms, and Lily wrapped herself around both of them. You did it, Marcus whispered. We did it, Elena corrected. The rest of the service was a blur of perfection. Every dish that went out was a revelation, a testament to what Elena could create when fear no longer held her back. Food critics would later call it the meal of the decade. 3 Michelin inspectors, dining anonymously, would award stars before the restaurant officially opened. But the moment that mattered most came at the end of the night, when the last guest had left and the kitchen was clean. Elena stood with Marcus and Lily in the empty dining room, looking out at the city lights. You know what this means? Lily asked. What, sweetheart? Elena's not going anywhere now. She's stuck with us. Elena laughed, pulling the little girl close. Is that a threat or a promise? Both, Lily said. Definitely both. Marcus's phone buzzed with a message from his mother. I was wrong. Bring her to New Year's dinner and tell her I'm sorry. He showed it to Elena, who smiled. Miracles do happen. You're the miracle, he said. You walked into our lives with nothing but broken chalk and somehow put us back together. You saved me first, Elena said. That night, when I was ready to disappear, you and Lily gave me a reason to exist again. Then we saved each other, Marcus said, pressing a kiss to her forehead. From the kitchen, someone had left the radio on. As midnight approached, marking the new year, the 3 of them stood together, a family forged not by blood, but by choice, by struggle, by the decision to fight for beauty in a world that often tried to destroy it. Hey, Lily said suddenly. Do you hear that? They listened. It was the sound of cheering from the streets, of fireworks beginning to light up the sky. It's midnight, Elena said. New year, new beginning. New family, Lily added. New everything, Marcus agreed. As fireworks exploded over Manhattan, painting the sky in gold and silver, Elena realized that sometimes rock bottom wasn't an ending. Sometimes it was just the foundation for something extraordinary. The girl who'd been drawing dinners on sidewalks was now the most celebrated chef in New York. The widower who'd forgotten how to taste joy had remembered how to love. And the little girl who'd stopped believing in tomorrow had found her faith in the future. But the story wasn't over. Christine Laurent's empire was crumbling, but empires don't fall quietly. And Vincent, even facing federal charges, had one more card to play. The real battle was just beginning. The call came at 3 a.m, 2 weeks after the Whitmore triumph. Elena fumbled for her phone in the darkness of the guest room that had become hers, seeing an unknown number. Hello? Elena Russo? The voice was official, cold. This is Detective Martinez, NYPD. There's been an incident at the Whitmore Hotel kitchen. We need you to come down immediately. Marcus was already in the hallway when she emerged, having heard her phone ring. What's wrong? Something happened at the Whitmore. They drove through empty streets, leaving Lily with the building's night concierge. The hotel was surrounded by police cars, fire trucks, ambulances. Smoke billowed from the kitchen windows. James Morrison met them at the entrance, his face grim. Elena, I'm so sorry. Someone set fire to the kitchen, specifically to your station. They followed him through the chaos to what remained of Elena's workspace. Everything was destroyed. Her knife set, her personal recipe notebooks she'd been rebuilding, the plans for the permanent restaurant menu. But what made her knees buckle was what was spray-painted on the wall in red. You should have stayed dead. We have security footage, Detective Martinez said. But whoever did this knew where the cameras were, stayed in blind spots, professional job. Vincent, Elena said immediately. He's under house arrest with an ankle monitor, the detective replied. Hasn't left his apartment. Then Christine was at a charity gala with 500 witnesses. Marcus pulled Elena close as she shook. This is a message. They're telling you they can reach you anywhere. Mr. Chen is right, the detective said. Ms. Russo, have you received any other threats? Elena was about to say no when her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. A photo of Lily leaving her art class, taken from across the street. The message read, Beautiful girl. Shame if something happened to her. Marcus grabbed the phone, his face turning murderous. They're threatening my daughter? We'll put protection on her, Martinez promised. But Ms. Russo, you might want to consider. What? Disappearing again? That's what they want. But that night, back at the penthouse, Elena made a decision. She packed her few belongings while Marcus was putting Lily to bed. He found her at the door with her bag. No, they threatened Lily. So we fight back. With what? They're playing by different rules. I won't let that little girl get hurt because of me. You think leaving will protect her? You think she won't be devastated? Elena, you're her... He stopped himself. Her what? I'm nobody to her, Marcus. Just someone who stayed for a few weeks. You know that's not true. From down the hall, Lily's voice called out, Elena, can you come read to me? Elena's composure cracked. Tell her I had to go. Tell her. Tell her yourself, Lily said, appearing in the hallway in her pajamas, clutching her bear. You're leaving, aren't you? Because of the fire. Because someone's trying to hurt you. Lily, I heard Daddy on the phone with the police. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Everyone leaves, but I thought you were different. I thought you were brave. I am trying to protect you. No, you're scared. And when you're scared, you run. That's what Daddy does too, except he runs into work instead of away. Lily's 7-year-old wisdom cut deep. But Mommy never ran. Even when she was dying, she stayed. She fought. Elena dropped her bag, kneeling to Lily's level. Your mom was the bravest person. Then be like her. Stay and fight. Please. But before Elena could answer, Marcus's phone rang. It was his lawyer. Marcus, you need to see the news. Now. Marcus turned on the TV. The late-night news was running a special segment. Mental health crisis in high-end kitchens. Elena's face filled the screen. The hospital photo Vincent had leaked, but now accompanied by what looked like medical records. Documents obtained exclusively by this station reveal that celebrated chef Elena Russo has a history of mental instability, including a suicide attempt and subsequent psychiatric hold. Sources close to the situation report she's been living with millionaire Marcus Chen and his young daughter, raising concerns about the child's safety. Elena sank onto the couch. How did they get my medical records? They're fake, Marcus said immediately. They have to be. Medical records are protected. His phone rang again. This time it was his board of directors chairman. Marcus, we're calling an emergency meeting. Your judgment is being questioned. Housing a mentally unstable woman with your daughter. The optics are catastrophic. The Nakamura deal is falling apart. They don't want to be associated with scandal. More calls came in rapid succession. 3 major clients pulling contracts. His mother, hysterical about Lily's safety. Child Protective Services, saying they had received a complaint and would be visiting tomorrow. Elena stood up, deadly calm now. I'm leaving, tonight. Elena? They win, Marcus. Don't you see? They've destroyed everything. Your business, my reputation, and now they're coming for Lily. I won't let that happen. We can fight this. With what? They have the media, the police can't prove anything, and now CPS is involved. I'm poison. Everything I touch gets destroyed. She headed for the door, but Lily blocked her path. No. Lily, move. No. You don't get to leave because things got hard. That's not what family does. I'm not your family! The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Lily's face crumpled, and she ran to her room, slamming the door. Elena immediately wanted to take it back, but Marcus stepped between her and the hallway. You're right. You're not her family. Family doesn't give up. Family doesn't run. Sarah fought until her last breath, not because she could win, but because we were worth fighting for. But you're so wrapped up in your own pain that you can't see what you're throwing away. I'm trying to protect yourself. You're protecting yourself, using our safety as an excuse to do what you've always done, run when things get hard. His words hit like physical blows. Elena grabbed her bag and left, the door closing with a finality that echoed through the penthouse. Marcus stood in the sudden silence, then heard Lily crying in her room. He went to her, found her curled on her bed, clutching the bear Elena had helped her name. Hope. She left, didn't she? Lily whispered. Yes. Just like everyone else. No, sweetheart, not like everyone else. Your mom didn't choose to leave. Elena chose. Maybe we weren't enough. Maybe I wasn't enough. Marcus held his daughter as she sobbed, feeling his own heart breaking. You're everything, Lily. Everything. Outside, Elena stood on the sidewalk, snow beginning to fall again. She had nowhere to go. The shelters would be full. The Whitmore kitchen was destroyed. Everything she'd rebuilt had crumbled in a single night. She walked for hours, ending up at the spot where Lily had first found her. The chalk drawings were long gone, washed away by weather and time. She sat on the same piece of cardboard, pulling out her last possession, the restored recipe notebook Marcus had fixed for her. Opening it, she found a new addition. Lily had drawn pictures throughout, little illustrations of Elena cooking, of the three of them at dinner, of what she labeled our family. On the last page, in Lily's careful handwriting, Elena's recipes taste like love. Never stop cooking. Love, your sous chef, Lily. Elena broke down completely, sobbing in the frozen darkness. She'd had everything, a family, a future, love, and she'd thrown it away. Just like Vincent had said she would, just like Christine had predicted. Her phone, almost dead, buzzed with one last message, a video from an unknown number. She clicked play. It was Vincent, clearly drunk, at some bar. You know what the best part is? He was saying to someone off camera. She thinks we destroyed her kitchen. We didn't have to. She destroys everything herself. Give Elena Russo something beautiful, and she'll find a way to ruin it. That's why I chose her. I knew she'd self-destruct eventually. The video ended with his laughing face. Elena stared at the dark screen, seeing her reflection, hollow-eyed, defeated, alone. Vincent was right. Christine was right. She destroyed everything she touched. At the penthouse, Marcus stood at the window where Elena had stood that first night, watching snow fall over the city. Lily had cried herself to sleep. CPS would come tomorrow. His board would demand answers. His business might not survive. But all he could think about was Elena, somewhere in the cold city, alone. His phone rang. James Morrison. Marcus, I found something. The fire at Whitmore, the accelerant used was professional grade, only available to licensed contractors. Christine's brother owns a contracting company, the same company that did renovations at Whitmore last year. They would have had access, known the blind spots. Can you prove it? Working on it. But Marcus, there's more. Those medical records on the news, they're not fake, but they're not Elena's. They're from a Rebecca Chen, one of Vincent's other victims. Same hospital, same dates, but different patient. Someone with access to hospital records switched the names. Christine has a nephew who's a hospital administrator. Exactly. This is a coordinated attack. They're not just trying to destroy Elena, they're trying to destroy anyone who supports her. Eddie, Marcus made a decision. James, I need your help. Call everyone from the coalition. We're going to war. Marcus, your board can fire me if they want, but I'm not letting them win. Not this time. He looked in on Lily one more time, then grabbed his coat. Somewhere in the city, Elena was alone and broken. But she was wrong about one thing. She wasn't poison. She was the antidote to the poison that people like Christine and Vincent spread. And he was going to find her, even if it meant losing everything else. Because Lily was right. That's what family does. And Marcus found her at dawn in the place he should have looked first, the 24-hour diner where dishwashers and line cooks went after their shifts, a place Elena had mentioned once when talking about her early days in the city. She sat in a corner booth, hands wrapped around a cold cup of coffee, her notebook open to Lily's drawings. The owner called me, Marcus said, sliding into the booth across from her. Said a woman had been sitting here all night, crying over a recipe book. Figured it might be you. Elena didn't look up. How's Lily? Devastated, but fighting. She's at home creating what she calls a war plan to destroy Christine Laurent. She's 7. She's her mother's daughter. Sarah never backed down from a fight either. I'm not Sarah. No, Marcus agreed. You're Elena Russo, the woman who survived Vincent's betrayal, Christine's vendetta, homelessness, and still created beauty on sidewalks. The woman who brought my daughter back to life. The woman I... He stopped. Elena finally looked up, her eyes red and swollen. The woman you what? The woman I love. The words hung between them. Elena shook her head. You don't love me. You love the idea of me, the broken bird you could save. Is that really what you think? Marcus pulled out his phone, showed her a video. Lily made this last night after you left. The video showed Lily in the kitchen, looking directly at the camera. Hi, Elena. I know you think you're protecting us by leaving, but you're wrong, so I'm going to prove it. The video cut to footage from the Whitmore opening. Elena in her element, commanding the kitchen with grace and power. Then to her teaching Lily to cook, both of them laughing. Then to quiet moments. Elena reading to Lily, Elena and Marcus talking over coffee, the three of them decorating cookies. You see, Lily's voice narrated, you're not poison, you're the cure. Before you came, Daddy never smiled real smiles. I never wanted to create anything. Our house was just walls and sadness. But you brought life back. You brought love back. The video ended with Lily holding up a sign. Please come home. Elena was sobbing now. Marcus reached across the table, took her hands. She's right. You're not the disaster in this story, Elena. You're the hero. You just can't see it because Vincent and Christine broke your ability to see yourself clearly. CPS is coming. Already handled. Diana Chen's sister is a family court judge. She's reviewed the complaint, found it baseless. Helps that we have video evidence of Vincent threatening Lily. Your board can't actually fire me. I own 51%. Sarah insisted on it when we went public. Said I should never give up control of my own dream. The Whitmore kitchen is being rebuilt. Insurance covered everything. James wants you to design the new layout exactly how you want it. Elena stared at him. You fixed everything? No. We fixed everything. The coalition, Diana, James, even my mother. She's threatening to sue 3 media outlets for defamation. Turns out she's scarier than Christine when her granddaughter is threatened. But Christine is finished? Marcus pulled out a tablet, showed her the morning news. FBI raided her restaurants last night, found evidence of tax fraud going back 20 years. But that's not the best part. He swiped to another article. The headline read, Vincent Laurent arrested for arson. How? Your friend Thomas, the one who took Vincent's exams? He recorded everything, including Vincent bragging about burning down the Whitmore kitchen. He was wearing a wire, working with the FBI. Turns out Vincent never learned to keep his mouth shut when he's drunk. Elena's hands shook. It's really over? The legal part, maybe, but the real fight, that's just beginning. Marcus stood, held out his hand. Come home. We have work to do. What work? The Morrison Group wants to fund a restaurant. Your restaurant. Full creative control, your name, your menu. But there's a catch. There always is. They want it to include a training program for homeless youth, teaching them not just to cook, but to create, to find beauty even when the world tries to beat it out of them. Elena looked up at him, tears streaming. Like I was. Like you were. But also like you are. Someone who never stopped creating, never stopped fighting, even when you thought you'd lost. She took his hand, stood on shaking legs. Lily will forgive me? She's already planning the menu for your restaurant. She says it needs a kids section where children can learn to paint with sauces. They drove back to the penthouse as the city woke up. When the elevator doors opened, Lily was waiting, still in her pajamas, holding a piece of paper. I wrote you a contract, she announced. You have to sign it if you want to come back. Elena knelt down, read the contract written in Lily's careful handwriting. I, Elena Russo, promise to never leave without saying goodbye. Teach me one new recipe every week. Let us love you even when you're scared. Remember that family means nobody gets left behind. Help Daddy smile more. Be my mom if you want to. Optional but hoped for. Elena laughed through her tears. Do you have a pen? As she signed the paper with one of Lily's glitter pens, Marcus's phone rang. It was Diana Chen. Turn on Channel 4, now. The morning show was broadcasting live from outside Laurent's flagship restaurant, where a crowd had gathered. But these weren't protesters. They were chefs. Dozens of them, all wearing whites, all holding signs with single words. Truth. Justice. Elena. The reporter was interviewing James Morrison. This is unprecedented, Mr. Morrison. Chefs from competing restaurants, standing together. Elena Russo represents every chef who's ever had their work stolen, their dreams crushed by those with more power. Today, we stand with her, and we have something to announce. The camera panned to Diana Chen. The Morrison Chen Hospitality Group is proud to announce the funding of Resurgette, a new restaurant concept by Elena Russo. But it's more than a restaurant. It's a culinary school for the forgotten, the dismissed, the overlooked. Because talent doesn't care about your address or your past. It only cares about your passion. The reporter turned back to the camera. We're also learning that Vincent Laurent has been denied bail after prosecutors revealed evidence of a pattern of harassment and theft spanning years. Christine Laurent's restaurant empire is under federal investigation, with several establishments already closed. Marcus turned off the TV. Resurgette. It means she rises again in Latin. I know, Elena said softly. I studied it in culinary school. Never thought it would apply to me. It doesn't just apply to you, Lily said. It is you. Over the next 3 weeks, the transformation was remarkable. The coalition that had formed to support Elena grew into something larger, a movement to change how the restaurant industry treated young talent. Established chefs began mentoring newcomers openly. The toxic culture that had allowed the Lawrence to thrive started to crumble. Elena threw herself into designing Resurgette. The space James had found was perfect, a former bank in the village, with soaring ceilings and a vault they could turn into a wine cellar. But the real beauty was in the concept, half restaurant, half school. During the day, homeless youth would learn not just cooking, but art, plating, flavor theory. At night, they'd help run service, learning by doing. This is what I was meant to do, Elena told Marcus one evening as they reviewed architectural plans. Not just cook, but teach. Not just succeed, but lift others. Sarah would have loved this, Marcus said. She always believed in second chances. I wish I could have met her. You did, in a way. Through Lily, all the best parts of Sarah live on in her. The night before Resurgette's opening, they stood in the finished space. It was everything Elena had dreamed. Warm colors, open kitchen, walls covered with chalkboard paint where students could create. The menu was a masterpiece of Elena's journey. Dishes inspired by her time at Storia, her nights on the streets, her rebirth with Marcus and Lily. Are you ready? Marcus asked. No, Elena admitted, but I'm not running. Opening night arrived with the kind of buzz New York reserved for genuine moments of change. The guest list read like a who's who of the culinary world, but scattered throughout were the real VIPs, the first students of the program, former homeless youth who would start training the next week. Elena stood in her new kitchen, her brigade around her, some established chefs who'd volunteered to help, some students getting their first taste of service. Lily was there too, in a tiny chef's coat Elena had made for her, appointed as Chief Morale Officer. Listen up, Elena addressed her team. Tonight isn't about perfection, it's about proof. Proof that talent can come from anywhere. Proof that second chances work. Proof that food is more than sustenance. It's hope. Now let's cook. The first orders came in. Elena began calling them out, her voice strong and clear. The kitchen moved like a symphony, each person playing their part. When the first plates went out, Elena held her breath. Then the server returned with feedback. Table 6 says it's the best meal they've ever had. They're crying. More feedback poured in, all extraordinary. Food critics would later write that it wasn't just the best new restaurant of the year, but possibly the decade. But the moment that mattered most came when a young man approached the kitchen. Chef Russo, I'm David. I'm starting your program next week. I just wanted to say, I've been on the streets for 2 years. Everyone told me I was worthless. But seeing you tonight, knowing where you came from, maybe I'm not worthless. Maybe I can rise too. Elena pulled him into a hug, both of them crying. You will rise, she promised. We'll rise together. At the end of the night, after the last guest had left, Elena found Marcus and Lily in the dining room. They had set a table for 3, with champagne for the adults and sparkling cider for Lily. To Resurgette, Marcus raised his glass. To family, Lily added. To never giving up, Elena completed. As they clinked glasses, Marcus pulled out a small box. Elena's breath caught. It's not what you think, he said quickly. Not yet, but Lily and I wanted you to have this. Inside was a key on a chain, not just any key, an ornate, vintage key. It's to the penthouse, Lily explained, but also to everything, our home, our hearts, our future. You don't have to be a guest anymore. You can just be ours. Elena put on the necklace, the key resting against her heart. I already am. Marcus kissed her then, soft and sure, while Lily pretended to be grossed out but was actually grinning. Later, as they walked home through the village, past the spot where Elena had once drawn chalk dinners on concrete, Lily pointed at the sidewalk. Look! Someone had drawn in chalk, a phoenix rising from the flames, with the word resurgette beneath it. The city knows, Lily said sagely. Everyone knows. Elena Russo rose again. We all did, Elena said, pulling her family close. We all did. But the universe wasn't quite done with them yet. As they reached the penthouse, Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. He read it, his face going pale. What is it? Elena asked. He showed her the screen, a single line of text. You think you've won? The game isn't over. CL. Christine Laurent might be facing federal charges, but she still had one last card to play. Estor Stos. The letter arrived 6 months later, on a June morning when Resurgette had just received its first Michelin star, the fastest in New York history. Elena was teaching a morning class to her students, showing them how to brunoise vegetables with precision, when Marcus walked in with an envelope marked with a federal prison stamp. It's from Christine, he said quietly. Elena's hands stilled. Her students, 12 young people who'd been homeless, all now housed through the program's partnership with the city, watched with concern. Take 5, everyone, Elena said. In her office, she opened the letter with trembling hands. Christine's handwriting was still elegant, even from prison. Elena, by the time you read this, I'll have pled guilty to all charges. 20 years they say I'll serve, but I need you to know something before I disappear into the federal system. Vincent isn't my son. He's my nephew, my sister's child. She died when he was 7, suicide, after her husband left her for a younger woman. I took Vincent in, raised him, gave him everything. But somewhere along the way, I confused protection with possession. I turned him into a monster because I was so afraid of losing him, like I lost her. Every woman he destroyed reminded me of the one who destroyed my sister's marriage. I let my pain poison him, and he poisoned others. You were just the last in a long line of my victims. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking you to understand. Hurt people, but you broke the cycle. You took your pain and turned it into purpose. The restaurant empire I built is gone, liquidated to pay restitution to all the chefs I destroyed. Vincent is serving 15 years, but you're teaching kids that their past doesn't define their future. You won. Not because you destroyed me, but because you refused to become me. Don't let my shadow follow you anymore. Live in your light. Christine Laurent. Elena set down the letter, tears streaming. Marcus pulled her close. She's right, he said. You won. No, Elena corrected. We survived. There's a difference. A knock at the door interrupted them. Lily bounded in, now 8 and even more precocious, wearing her junior chef's coat. Elena, David just got accepted to the Culinary Institute, full scholarship. David, the young man from opening night, had become Resurgette's star student. He stood in the doorway, grinning broadly. Chef Russo, I couldn't have done it without you. You did it yourself, Elena said. I just showed you it was possible. That afternoon, as lunch service began, Elena moved through her kitchen with the confidence of someone who'd found their purpose. Her students worked alongside experienced chefs, creating magic from simple ingredients. The dining room was full, a mix of food critics, tourists, locals, and always, at table 7, someone eating for free because they reminded Elena of herself a year ago. Chef, one of her students called out, there's someone here to see you. Elena walked into the dining room to find her parents standing near the entrance. She hadn't seen them in 3 years. Her mother's face was older, lined with worry. Her father stood stiffly, uncomfortable in his work clothes among the upscale diners. Mom? Dad? We saw you on the news, her mother said quietly. The story about the restaurant, the school. Elena, we were wrong. We should have believed you, should have stood by you. Her father cleared his throat. We're proud of you, baby girl. So proud. Elena fell into their arms, 3 years of estrangement melting away. They stayed for lunch, her father crying over the lamb dish that reminded him of his own mother's cooking, her mother taking pictures of everything. That young man you have working here, her mother said, watching Marcus help with service. He looks at you like you hung the moon. He saved me, Mom. No, sweetheart, you saved each other. 2 weeks later, the James Beard Foundation announced Elena as Chef of the Year. The ceremony was held at Lincoln Center, the culinary world's biggest night. Elena stood at the podium in a simple black dress, the key Marcus had given her around her neck, looking out at an audience that included her students, her parents, the coalition that had supported her, and in the front row, Marcus and Lily. A year ago, she began, I was drawing meals on sidewalks because I couldn't afford to eat them. I thought my story was over, but a 7-year-old girl saw me creating beauty from nothing and decided I was worth saving. She looked directly at Lily, who was beaming. We talk about rising from ashes, about phoenixes and resurrection. But the truth is, you can't rise alone. You need someone to believe you have wings even when you've forgotten how to fly. For me, that was Lily Chen, who asked a simple question. Can she have dinner with us? The audience was silent, captivated. Christine Laurent once told me that hurt people hurt people. She was right, but she missed the other truth. Healed people heal people. Loved people love people. Every dish we serve at Resurgate isn't just food. It's proof that second chances work, that talent doesn't care about your address, and that sometimes the best families are the ones you choose. She raised her award. This isn't mine. It belongs to every student who trusted me to teach them, every chef who stood up to tyranny, and especially to Marcus and Lily Chen, who reminded me that home isn't a place. It's the people who refuse to let you disappear. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Later, at the after-party, Marcus found Elena on the balcony, looking out over the city. You know, he said, I never did ask you properly. Ask me what? He got down on one knee, pulling out a ring, not huge or flashy, but perfect, with a stone the pale blue of morning sky. Elena Russo, you walked into our lives with chalk dust and sadness, and somehow turned everything into color. You gave Lily her laugh back. You gave me my heart back. Will you marry us? Because it's definitely a package deal. Before Elena could answer, Lily appeared with her own ring box. I have one too. She opened it to reveal a ring pop. It's strawberry, your favorite. So, will you? Will you be my mom officially? Elena knelt down to their level, laughing and crying simultaneously. Yes, to both of you. Always yes. The wedding happened 3 months later, not in some grand ballroom, but in Resurgate's dining room, transformed with fairy lights and flowers drawn by Lily on every table. Elena's students cooked the meal, their gift to the woman who'd given them futures. Her parents walked her down the aisle together, her father crying the whole way. Lily served as both flower girl and ring bearer, and when it came time for vows, she insisted on saying her own. Elena, you showed me that families aren't just people you're born to, but people you choose. I choose you to be my mom, forever and ever. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. As Marcus and Elena kissed, sealing their union, snow began to fall outside. Unusual for September, everyone said. But Elena knew better. It was the universe's way of bringing things full circle, from that snowy Christmas Eve when she'd been drawing dinners on sidewalks to this moment when she had everything she'd never dared dream of. Epilogue, 5 years later. The Resurgate Foundation now operated 6 restaurants across the country, each one training homeless youth, each one with its own Michelin star. Elena's cookbook, Rising Recipes from Rock Bottom, had become a bestseller, with all proceeds funding scholarships. On another Christmas Eve, Elena stood in the original Resurgate's kitchen, now expanded to twice its size. Lily, 13 and brilliant, worked beside her, preparing for the Foundation's annual Christmas dinner for the homeless. Mom, Lily said casually, the words still making Elena's heart flutter, even after all these years. Tell me again about the night Dad found you. You were there, sweetheart. You found me. I know, but I like hearing you tell it. Marcus appeared in the doorway, their 2-year-old son, Gabriel, on his hip. They'd named him after Elena's grandfather, the one who'd taught her that food was love before she even knew what love meant. "Story time?" Marcus asked, kissing Elena's temple. "Always," she replied. As Elena told the story, their story, students bustled around them, preparing meals for 500 people. David, now her sous chef, called out orders. Other graduates of the program worked every station, living proof that rock bottom could be a beginning, not an end. "And then," Elena said, finishing the tale as she always did, "a little girl taught me that sometimes angels don't have wings. Sometimes they have mittens and ask if you're hungry." "That's me," Lily grinned. "I'm the angel." "Yes," Elena said, pulling her daughter close. "You're all my angels." Vincent's latest letter from prison sat unopened in her office. He wrote every month, seeking forgiveness she wasn't ready to give. Maybe someday, but not today. Today was for gratitude, for family, for feeding people who needed more than food. They needed hope. As the first guests arrived for dinner, Elena saw a young woman sitting outside, sheltering from the snow under a newspaper. She was drawing something on a napkin with a stubby pencil. "I'll be right back," Elena said. She walked outside, knelt beside the woman. "Are you hungry?" The woman looked up, eyes hollow but not defeated. Yes." "Then come inside. We have a warm meal and a warm place. And if you want, tomorrow we can talk about teaching you to cook." "Why would you do that?" Elena smiled, remembering another snowy night, another question, another chance. "Because someone once did it for me, and beauty shared is beauty doubled." As she led the woman inside, Elena caught Lily watching from the window, smiling that same smile from 5 years ago, the one that said she knew magic when she saw it. The circle was complete, but the story never really ended. It just kept beginning again. One meal, one chance, one choice at a time. Because that's what resurrection meant. Not just rising once, but rising every day, pulling others up with you until everyone who'd been told they were nothing discovered they were everything. In the kitchen, Gabriel toddled over to Elena, arms raised. She picked him up, and he patted her cheek with his chubby hand. "Mama cook?" "Yes, baby, Mama cooks." "Why?" Elena looked around at her kitchen full of former outcasts now turned professionals. At Marcus teaching a student how to plate, at Lily sketching the dinner service, at the dining room filling with people who needed to remember they mattered. "Because cooking is love, baby, and love is the only ingredient that matters." As the snow continued to fall over New York, Resurgit glowed with warmth and light, a beacon for anyone who'd ever been told they weren't enough. Inside, Elena Russo, once homeless, once broken, once defeated, stood at the center of her kingdom, built not on power or fear, but on the radical belief that everyone deserved a second chance. Christine Laurent had been wrong about one thing. Elena hadn't won because she'd refused to become her. Elena had won because she'd chosen to become herself. Scars, fears, hopes, and all. And that, more than any Michelin star or award, was the real victory. The camera pulls back from the restaurant, up through the falling snow, showing the city sprawled below. Millions of lights, millions of stories, millions of chances for magic to happen when someone stops and asks, "Are you hungry?" Because sometimes the most profound revolutions begin with the simplest acts of kindness, and sometimes all it takes to change everything is one person willing to see beauty where the world sees only broken things. In loving memory of all the dreams that died so better, ones could be born, and to everyone who's ever been at rock bottom, you're not buried, you're planted.